Okay. So thank you so much, Noor, for joining me today. Welcome to our meetup on quantum erasure experiment and exploring the fundamental concepts related to entanglement through quantum erasure experiment. This is a part of our educational initiatives from Quantum Quicksort. This is a quantum community and collective focusing on quantum algorithm applications and architecture. We are really interested to speak more about quantum erasure experiment, primarily because of the uh, dimensions, right? The dimensions on the deeper aspects of quantum mechanics and quantum physics unraveled by the exposure, the experiment. Okay, so basically, either we all, when we study about quantum physics, we talk about the entanglement and superposition. And one of the first experiments that we talk about is about the double slit experiment, and which demonstrates the wave nature of matter, right? And photons, of course. So the when we that is a kind of great revelation for the world, the community of scientists. For example, when this was first time observed through double slit experiment, it was a true demonstration of the wave nature of photon. First time it was done by Christian Huygens, and later there were a lot of refinement in the experiment. But when the quantum from when we move from the double slit experiment to the quantum erasure and delayed quantum erasure experiment, which I am showing you right now, this has uh, this has opened up a lot of questions to the community of quantum physicists and quantum theorists and quantum mechanics practitioners. So it is primarily because the same photons behave in one manner when you're observing it, and they behave in a different manner when we are not observing it. So the photons can exhibit one particular behavior as a wave when we are not observing it. At the moment we are observing it, they behave like a particle. So that is the crux of this experiment, if I may summarize. So you can see the statement here. Quantum systems exhibit particle or wave-like behavior depending on the experimental apparatus they are confronted by. So this wave-particle duality is at the heart of quantum mechanics. And if you look at the history of postulates and hypotheses and theories about quantum physics, entanglement has been an enigma or a imbroglio for the community of quantum physics for a long time. That's why we have a specific interpretation called Copenhagen interpretation about uh, quantum mechanics around entanglement, right? Primarily focusing on quantum entanglement. And even, the Schrodinger paradox itself is a demonstration of the confusions prevailing in the world of about quantum entanglement. Earlier, or at least even now, there is a school of thought which says the wave function collapses, but there is a school of thought which negates the concept that wave function collapse, like the Hugh-Everett theory. And then there was another theory by David Bohm about the hidden variables, and the Einstein EPR paradox. Einstein, Podolsky, and Nathan Rosen, they came up with the EPR paradox, who are not ready to accept that there could be indeterminism, or that the nature can go indeterministic in the quantum realms, right? So the wave particle duality, which was very much demonstrated by quantum erasure experiment and quantum delayed choice experiment, this was not accepted when early on Heisenberg came up with the uncertainty principle, and when it was supported by pioneers like Niels Bohr, right? So even the significance of quantum erasure experiment is underlying the fact that to a deterministic notion, quantum nature is a paradox. If you look from a deterministic lens, quantum reality gives you a paradox. And that is best captured by the delayed choice experiment. What happens in delayed choice experiment? A photon is forced to choose a behavior before the observer decides what to measure. What happens is, in delayed choice experiment, we are investigating particle and wave behavior simultaneously. And if you look at you must have heard about no cloning theorem and Bell's non-locality theorem, right? So David Bell, through his non-locality, through his experiment and his formulation about non-locality, has underlined or highlighted the quantum nature of photon, which was later, you know, strengthened by the delayed choice experiment. So even when, so what happens, delayed choice experiment is an extension of the quantum erasure experiment, and it shows non-local correlations. The term correlation, I think, was first used by Everett itself in his PhD thesis about quantum entanglement. So, do you have any thoughts to share or comments to share till now, Rafnoor?
No, no.
Okay. So I was trying to talk about the historic connections we have to understand. So, for example, when you see the work from Heisenberg, Heisenberg came up with the uncertainty principle. Even he had a lot of hesitations even after proposing them. And Schrodinger, even though he got Nobel Prize, he himself was not very convinced about the quantum nature. That's why he formulated the Schrodinger, the cat paradox, right? The the famous paradox about cat in a box, right? So, and then later we have seen that Niels Bohr was one of the great proponents, who was the mentor to Heisenberg, and who was a peer of Schrodinger. Heisenberg was one of the proponent of quantum physics after this early phase. So quantum systems can exhibit particle-like or wave-like behavior depending on the experimental apparatus. That is the summary or the one deduction from the delayed choice experiment. So photon is forced to choose a behavior before the observer decides what to measure. So this delay is a very interesting uh, point. So this talks about an interesting aspect. This delay, I mean, this is not there in the original quantum erasure experiment. So photon is forced to choose a behavior. So there is a kind of uh, decision taken by the photon in connection with the observer. So if you look at the Everett model, I could say that only Everett's model can logically or convincingly explain this connection between the uh, observer and the observed and the environment. Are you aware of the Everett's model, Prabhnush?
Everett's model, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, that is a model different from the classical model of Niels Bohr or the hidden variable model of David Bohm or the uh, model about quantum mechanics by others. Everett's model was very simple, but what Everett's model said is when you look at a quantum experiment or a uh, quantum nature, there is an entanglement between observer, observed, and the environment. So observer and observer are in entanglement. Observer is in entanglement with the environment, and observed is also in entanglement with the environment. So this was later renamed as many world interpretation or many worlds model. But please understand this is very different from the multiverse model, which or the world simulation model propounded by someone else. Everett's model, but Everett's model interestingly factors in the interactions, the possibility of entanglement between the observed and the observer and the environment. The interesting thing in the quantum delayed choice experiment is both particle and wave behavior are investigated simultaneously. Let me show you the apparatus of quantum delayed choice experiment. Choice experiment. I think this is a better diagram. Okay, I will share it again. I hope you can see my screen now. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So I am
So
trying to,
Everett's model is
yeah. So Everett's model, I will take you to Everett's model shortly.
uh, I'm saying, is it related to that, like when the system gets entangled with the environment and then it goes undergoes decoherence, and
See,
that's the one, is it?
decoherence is something that comes as a subsequent, point to it. It's not directly. Everett's model is more wider than just a discussion about decoherence. Okay, Everett's model is all about it's an it's an interpretation of quantum mechanics that no, there is no wave function collapse. That's the main point. You don't, you don't,
Yeah.
the decoherence is not because of the wave function collapse. So essentially, Everett's model is a very wider model. In fact, Everett worked on something called quantum cosmology in his time. Such was his broader canvas. Okay, so essentially, Everett's model envisions a universal wave function. Okay, so what it means is all possible outcomes of quantum measurements are physically realized in some world or some universe. it's more broader than or more conclusive than the Copenhagen interpretation in some in the, for example, the currently Sean Carroll, you must be knowing about Sean Carroll. Some the experts, some quantum physicists like Sean Carroll say that it is more logical or more close to the reality than the Copenhagen interpretation. And some people say it's deterministic, but it is not deterministic. It's rather, it's a Everett interpretation is all about, it doesn't need wave function collapse for explaining decoherence. But if you ask in the pure Everettian model, there is nothing called wave function collapse. The quantum world is interpreted as a world where there are many worlds that coexist. The probability of measuring some world or some experiment is more than others because they are more entangled, or the correlations are more stronger there. So it is not it is not in accordance with the collapse theories and hidden variable theories. So Copenhagen model is more advocating wave function collapse. Even when you solve the Schrodinger equation, you see about you must have seen how the wave function collapses, right? Such a model is not part of the Everett's model. So it resolves the paradoxes like EPR paradox, the Einstein-Podolsky, Nathan-Raisen paradox, and Schrodinger-Cat paradox. That's the interesting as dimension of Everett's model. Okay. Now let me show you the delayed quantum erasure experiment, which we talked about. So this, as you see here, you have a laser beam that comes, there is a laser beam hitting a particular beam splitter and passes through the lens. And then there is a nonlinear crystal. And then from this crystal, it's connected to two photon detectors. But what you have is the photon, then on one side, it goes through a double slit with a quarter wave plate where there is a delay. Okay. And one side you are passing the split, the photon without a delay, right? And there is a counter which can measure the coincidence. This is the quantum erasure experiment apparatus. I hope this is clear to you. Let me show you another diagram with more clear explanation about this experiment. Yeah, I think this is a better diagram. Okay, I think this diagram explains it better for you. So there is a laser beam. It comes to a particular, prism, a specific prism, and from this prism, you are passing it to a particular detector apparatus model. So what happens is there are, I think I can explain better using this diagram. Let me see if it is legible. Light comes out from this beam, and there is a lens. From that lens, it goes to the first detector, and you can see one type of photon can be said as a signal photon. another one is said as an idler photon, and then you have the presence of a prism which will be able to divert that into a set of beam splitters which are arranged in a manner in which they can convert one one type of photon will be going into a separate beam splitter, and there are detectors placed in an arrangement such that it can measure the delay. That's the crux of it. So MA and MB are two mirrors. D0, D1, D2, D3, and D4 are the detectors. This is the quantum delay choice experiment apparatus. So why should we study about this? What is the significance of this? The significance of this experiment is primarily for us to understand that there is a spatial and temporal aspect to entanglement. Even when you study about the Feynman's diagram or Feynman's conceptualizations about the time, we could see that Feynman has visualized about the significance of uh, it, you know this delay signifies that it will be able to demonstrate a quasi particle behavior along with the wave nature. That's the significance of it. Why is it important? Is because it is very useful when you're looking from a quantum computing perspective. One of the relevance would be that in some of the computations, we have to factor in the wave nature, and some of the other computations, we have to factor in the particle nature. So the quantum computation itself has to be cognizant of the fact that light would be, or photon would be, when you do photonic quantum computing, especially, it could demonstrate both particle behavior as well as wave behavior based on how we observe it. And in conjunction with the Everett's model, it assumes more significance that we have a more robust theory in our hands. That is the benefit of Everett's model. Why I'm bringing Everett's model into this conversation is Everett's model is more conclusive than Copenhagen interpretation or hidden variable model in terms of explaining the whole uh, systemic behavior. I hope it makes some sense to you. What are your thoughts about this?
Yeah.
I will show you the simple quantum erasure experiment as well. This was
Okay.
the experiment done before. Let me show you a legible diagram. Hmm, I think this diagram. Let me find a good diagram.